Welcome back to Hidden History Stories. This is part two of the incredible story of Joseph Stalin. In part one, we explored Stalin's rise from a poor boy in Georgia to the most powerful man in the Soviet Union. Now the world is at war. Adolf Hitler has launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history, and the Soviet Union is facing total destruction. Will Stalin survive his greatest challenge? Let's continue the story. Chapter 4. Stalin versus Hitler, the battle for survival. In August 1939, the world was stunned when the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany signed a non-aggression pact. The agreement meant that Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler had promised not to attack each other. Many people believed the pact would prevent conflict between the two powerful nations, but Hitler had other plans. On June 22, 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion in human history. More than 3 million German soldiers crossed the Soviet border. Thousands of tanks, aircraft, and artillery pieces accompanied them. The attack caught Stalin completely by surprise. For years, intelligence reports had warned him that Germany was preparing to invade. Yet Stalin refused to believe Hitler would break the agreement so soon. The result was disaster. German forces advanced rapidly across Soviet territory. Entire Soviet armies were surrounded and destroyed. Millions of soldiers were captured. Cities fell one after another. Many feared that the Soviet Union was on the verge of collapse. For several days, Stalin disappeared from public view. Some historians believe he was shocked by the scale of the invasion. Others argue he was struggling to understand how badly he had misjudged Hitler. But eventually, Stalin returned. And when he did, he made a decision that would define the rest of the war. He would not surrender. As German troops pushed toward Moscow, Stalin refused to leave the capital. Many government offices were evacuated, but Stalin remained in the city. His decision became a powerful symbol of resistance. The Soviet people were told that their leader would stay and fight. The battle for Moscow became one of the turning points of the war. Despite enormous losses, Soviet forces stopped the German advance. For the first time, Hitler's seemingly unstoppable army had been halted. But the war was far from over. In 1942, Germany launched another massive offensive. This time, the target was the city that carried Stalin's name, Stalingrad. The battle that followed would become one of the bloodiest and most important battles in human history. Street by street, building by building. The two sides fought for months. The city was reduced to ruins, yet Soviet soldiers refused to give up. Finally, in early 1943, German forces were surrounded and forced to surrender. The victory at Stalingrad shocked the world. It marked a major turning point in World War II. From that moment forward, the Soviet Union began pushing German forces back toward Berlin. Stalin had survived the greatest threat to his rule, but the cost was unimaginable. Millions of Soviet soldiers and civilians had lost their lives. Entire cities had been destroyed, yet the Soviet Union had endured. And as the war continued, Stalin's influence on the world stage grew stronger than ever. By 1945, he would stand alongside the leaders of the United States and Britain as one of the architects of victory over Nazi Germany. But peace would bring new challenges, and Stalin was already preparing for the next struggle, the battle for power in the post-war world. Chapter 5. From Victory to Superpower. When World War II ended in 1945, Joseph Stalin stood among the most powerful leaders on earth. Nazi Germany had been defeated, Berlin had fallen, and the Soviet Union emerged from the war as a military superpower. But the victory came at an enormous cost. More than 20 million Soviet citizens had died during the conflict. Entire cities had been destroyed. Millions of families had lost loved ones. The Soviet Union had won the war, but it was a nation scarred by unimaginable suffering. Stalin now faced a new challenge: rebuilding his country. Factories, railways, and cities were reconstructed at an incredible pace. The Soviet government poured vast resources into industry and military development. Within a few years, the Soviet Union had become one of the world's strongest economies in military powers. Yet Stalin's ambitions extended far beyond Soviet borders. As the war ended, Soviet influence spread across Eastern Europe. Countries such as Poland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and East Germany came under Soviet control or influence. Communist governments were established throughout the region. Many Western leaders became increasingly concerned. A new rivalry was emerging. This rivalry would become known as the Cold War. Unlike World War II, the Cold War was not fought through direct battles between the United States and the Soviet Union. Instead, it was a global struggle for influence, ideology, and power. On one side stood the United States and its allies. On the other stood Stalin's Soviet Union. Tensions grew rapidly. In 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb. The world entered the nuclear age. For the first time, two rival superpowers possessed weapons capable of destroying entire cities. The balance of power had changed forever. Inside the Soviet Union, however, Stalin's rule remained harsh. Political opponents were silenced. Government surveillance continued. Millions remained trapped within a system where criticism of the state could have serious consequences. Even after leading his country to victory, Stalin trusted very few people. As he grew older, many around him feared his increasing suspicion and paranoia. Some of his closest associates worried that new purges might be coming. Then in March 1953, everything changed. Joseph Stalin suffered a stroke at his residence near Moscow. For several days, he lay seriously ill. On March 5, 1953, Joseph Stalin died at the age of 74. News of his death spread quickly throughout the Soviet Union and across the world. Millions mourned. Others felt relief. Some viewed him as a national hero who had transformed the Soviet Union into a superpower and helped defeat Nazi Germany. Final chapter. Legacy and conclusion. Joseph Stalin remains one of the most controversial figures in human history. Few leaders have had such a profound impact on the world. Under his rule, the Soviet Union transformed from a largely agricultural nation into a global superpower. It played a decisive role in defeating Nazi Germany and shaping the outcome of World War II. Millions of people admired him as a strong leader who protected and strengthened his country during some of its most difficult years. But his legacy has another side. His government carried out political purges, mass arrests, forced labor programs, and policies that caused immense suffering. Millions of lives were affected by decisions made under his rule. For many, Stalin became a symbol of fear and repression. For others, he remained a symbol of strength and national pride. Even decades after his death, historians continue to debate his legacy. Was he a visionary leader who helped save his nation during its darkest hour? Or was he a dictator whose pursuit of power came at an unbearable human cost? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. What cannot be denied is that Joseph Stalin helped shape the 20th century more than almost any other individual. His decisions influenced wars, borders, governments, and the lives of hundreds of millions of people. Whether remembered as a hero, a tyrant, or both, his story remains one of the most powerful and complex chapters in modern history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story from history, and let us know in the comments. Was Joseph Stalin a hero who saved his country, or a dictator who ruled through fear? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.